Jenkins. He's a Canadian lad who made it in the big time down here. He played mostly with the Chicago Cubs. Three-time All-Star. Actually, he's an All-Star. He was on the. He was a three-time All-Star, 71 Cy Young Award winner, and in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Ferguson Jenkins, welcome to Fargo, North Dakota.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Boy,
it's fun coming back. You don't want to come back as much in the wintertime, but I used to come back here in the fall, and I used to hunt in Binford.
Oh,
with a group of people, but it's a lot of fun to get back.
Well, it's really a joy to have you here. It's a real honor too. The Red River Diamond Classic is tonight at the Fargo Holiday Inn. Doors open at 5:30, dinner at 6:30, program at 7:15. You're going to be the speaker. Are you on this circuit quite often? Get out to do these sort of things?
I do baseball banquets from time to time, more so for coaches clinics, and depends on the group. Men's groups in Chicago, father and son type things. And it's good to get back to, I guess, the baseball roots and talk about the game because it's right around the corner.
Yeah, it
Spring
is.
Training is only maybe 14 days away.
Now, someone was telling me something I didn't know, if you can believe that 1968, it was after the 1968 season, pitchers have been so dominant in Major League Baseball that they lowered the mound because you guys were too tall.
Well, we did have good ERAs. We didn't give up a lot of runs, and the hitters were suffering a little bit. The offense was down, and some smart people like the commissioner and owners wanted to see more runs scored, so they lowered the mound. They thought that was going to do it, but they still had the guys that could win 20 games were still winning 20 games, like Gibson, Marichal, Perry, Bunning, myself, Necro. We still went out there and won.
And you pitched a good number of complete games,
right?
Not like these guys now.
Yeah, well over 270 complete ball games, and a lot of 300-inning years, 5 or 6. So I enjoyed that. That was the challenge to play in the National League because we had so many other good pitchers, and you were going to get matched up against these guys. Drysdale, Koufax, as I mentioned, Seaver, Carlton, you name the guys. I probably pitched a lot of times against them.
Which batter did you least want to see facing you? Or you can name more than one if you wish.
Well, Tony Perez hit me pretty good from Cincinnati. Willie McCovey was tough. When we had the Western Division, we used to play the Western Division 12 times. So you had to see them once or twice on the coast and once at home. So McCovey, it seemed like number 44 was coming up a lot. He was always in the on-deck circle.
I saw an interview with Sandy Koufax once, and they asked him that question, and he said Bob Uecker. Because Bob Uecker hit home runs.
He got me, too. He's got some. He got Gaylord Perry. He got a few Hall of Famers.
When did you come up in the majors?
I came up in '65 with the Phillies.
Mm-hmm. What were the racial tensions and all those issues facing you under control by then, or have you still seen it metamorph?
It was present in the minor leagues. I started off in Miami. It was Class D ball. And then I played in Chattanooga, where we had Birmingham and Macon, Georgia, some of the southern cities. And then that fourth year, I played in Little Rock with Dick Allen and Marcelino Lopez and Grant Jackson. And players of color suffered from time to time, but I was on the field. I mean, people were shouting things, but they were in the stands. They didn't come on the field, so I wasn't bothered by that.
I had the rare opportunity to interview Bob Feller a few years ago in a very similar situation. And one thing that amazed me about him and so many others is that you guys have precise memory of significant games and can tell us every pitch and the reaction of every batter. Are you focused in on those moments like that too?
Oh, yeah, I think pitchers have that type of memory because of the fact that we're playing games. We make split decisions from time to time. The catcher puts a sign down. You don't want it. You come right back to the same pitch. But you understand the guys that hit you well, the guys you get out easy, the cities you like to play in, some of the hotels, the eating spots. So you remember all those things. So it's just part of the game.
Back to the race issue, I asked Hank Aaron that question one time, and he says, well, I played in Fargo. I think it was a minor leagues, and he said, the thing I liked when I played Fargo was you had a great YMCA with the best pool tables. and he had a stay in the YMCA back in those days, but he loved our Y.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I play, the one thing, when I look back in the minor leagues, I played in St. Petersburg, and we couldn't stay with the white club players. We couldn't be booked in the same hotel. We stayed in a funeral home, and this funeral home had 3 floors. The mortuary was on the ground level and into the basement. The second floor had the caskets. The third floor is where the players stayed. And Alex Johnson was so afraid to fall asleep. He'd sleep in a chair. We were in St. Petersburg 2 different times, 3 games at a time. He slept in a chair every night. He said he would not go to sleep in those upstairs bedrooms.
Well, I can understand almost. Who taught you to pitch? Who's the man?
Gene DeJura, an area scout in my hometown, gave me that opportunity at 16 to really understand what the game was all about. He was a Philly scout. And then when I came up to the Phillies, Cal McClish was my pitching coach. I also had Robin Roberts. So I had some smart people really help me along the way, and I had some decent ability, and it all worked.
By the way, if any of you are my Facebook friend and go to my Facebook page, I had a picture taken with Ferguson Jenkins, and I ask him, who's that old guy, the one that looks like me? And I can't. I'm looking at that picture. You're older than me, but you look much younger. How old are you?
I'm 69.
Well, really, and you look like you're in great shape.
Well,
you work out every day?
I'm hanging in there. No, I don't work out.
Golf?
I play golf.
Of course.
I hunt and fish in the off season, like from September through December. But I think it's genetics. My father died. He was almost 90.
Oh, good.
And I had a great-grandmother was 102 when she passed away. So I'm hoping that the genetics are falling on the man side of the family.
What's your message tonight?
I'm going to talk about my career and how it started. Being a Canadian, I wanted to be an NHL hockey player, but that didn't work out. But baseball kind of took its turn. As I said, when I was 16, I got a chance to pitch. I was 16 years old playing against other ball players that were 21, 22 years old. And I had pretty good ability, and it seemed to work. And then I started to get scouted by teams. Detroit was right close to where I was at, Cleveland, Chicago, Pittsburgh. I scouted by maybe 6 or 7 teams back then and signed with the Phillies right out of high school.
Something else I didn't know about you, I just found out just moments ago when I went to Wikipedia. They have a good write-up and a great picture of you.
Right.
And you look younger now than when they took that picture anyway. You played with the Globetrotters?
2 seasons, yes.
How did that happen?
That was my off-season job. I was playing in Chicago, and Joe Enzovino was the marketing guru for the Globetrotters. They had an office downtown Michigan Avenue in Chicago. They asked me if I was going to go back to Canada in the off-season, would I like to play a couple of dozen games with them. So I did. That season, I ended up playing about 60 games. The next year, I played almost 100. And we toured all the campuses in the United States, played in Hawaii, New Zealand, all through Canada. I was a decent player. I played basketball in high school. Well, I went to an all-tech school, boys' school. And I played several sports, no football, hockey, basketball, track, and volleyball. And basketball was kind of a second sport, too. But I just loved to play. And being on a teammate with Meadowlark Lemon, Curly Neal, Showboat Hall, Geese Osby, these guys were the epitome of entertainment. And I loved playing with them.
Did Bob Gibson play?
He played in the early 60s, and I played 67 and 68 because he went to Crichton in the U.S.
Oh,
and he was I think he played like 61 or 62 with them. But I enjoyed my short tenure, as you call it, with them. But I made pretty good money in the offseason playing with them.
Maybe. Of course, I was very young when you were playing. No, I wasn't that young. But I remember I used to think that if I was a baseball player facing Bob Gibson, I would resign because I always figured he was so mean and he was so big. And honestly, I have nothing but good thoughts about you and those Chicago Cubbies. Did I just miss that? Were you a tough guy like Gibson?
Oh, yeah. We all had to be that way. I think we had to knock the hitter off the plate in some respect to get the opportunity to get him out away. You know, we couldn't have both sides of the plate, neither can the hitter. But in the era that I pitched, the umpires didn't guard the hitter as much as they do. We'd keep him off the plate. We could throw at him, knock him down, hit him. He didn't get thrown. Hey, we were even in fights, and when the dust cleared, the pitcher went back to the mound. The hitter was at first base. But it's a little different era now. I mean, the hitter's protected a lot more.
Well, sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ferguson Jenkins. Fergie, is that okay to call
Fergie,
you?
that's what
I remember they used to call you. Huh?
Yeah. My father was Fergie, and my dad before that.
Your mom and dad must have been very proud of you.
They were
coming out of Canada. And...
Yeah, they used to come to a lot of games. My dad would take mom to Detroit from time to time, and also in Chicago or Cincinnati, and come to a lot of the ball games.
Well, it's a real pleasure. And folks, it's your turn. I've met him. You can tonight. The 7th annual Red River Diamond Classic. It is at the Holiday Inn in the Great Hall, soon to be greater, with Ferguson Jenkins appearing. Doors open at 5:30 and eat at 6:30 and program at 7:15. 282-7929 for more information or tickets. Ferguson Jenkins, what a pleasure. What a gentleman.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.